Narrator, welcome, curious minds, to a journey through the history of time. Get ready to embark on an odyssey of discovery, where stories of long ago are revealed and mysteries of history are uncovered. Join us as we delve into the depths of the past, exploring the facts enigmatic and interesting that often escapes the confines of the classroom walls. Narrator, in a world full of stories, there is a wealth of knowledge beyond textbooks, beyond lectures. Today, we invite you to uncover the hidden truths, untold narratives, and astonishing revelations that history, in all its glory, brings to light offered. Enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, like and follow our channel. Alexander the Great was buried alive, accidentally. It is worth noting that Alexander the Great was accidentally buried alive. At the age of 32, Alexander the Great had conquered and established the largest land-based empire in the world, stretching from the Balkans to Pakistan. In 323 BC, Alexander fell ill, and after 12 days of excruciating pain, he seemingly passed away. However, his corpse did not show any signs of rot or decomposition for a full 6 days. Modern-day scientists believe that Alexander suffered from the neurological disorder Guillain-Barré Syndrome. They believe that when he died, he was actually just paralyzed and mentally aware. Essentially, he was horrifically buried alive. The world's most successful pirate in history was a lady. Qing Shi, a former prostitute in China, became the world's most successful pirate in history. She was bought and married by the commander of the Red Flag Fleet, who considered her his equal and made her an active pirate commander. She was bought and married by the commander of the Red Flag Fleet, who considered her his equal and made her an active pirate commander. Her leadership skills and strategic thinking were instrumental in the fleet's success. Qing Shi quickly gained the respect of her fellow pirates and, after her husband's death, became the captain of the fleet. Under Shi's leadership, the Red Flag Fleet comprised over 300 warships, with a possible 1,200 support ships. She commanded a possible 40,000 to 80,000 men, women, and children, terrorizing the waters around China. The Red Flag Fleet was such a fearsome band of raiders that the Chinese government eventually pardoned Qing Shi and her entire fleet, just to get them off the high seas. In the ancient Olympics, athletes competed naked. The athletes imitated the gods and used gymnastics to help clear toxins from their skin through sweating after each attempt at a sport. The word gymnastics comes from the ancient Greek words gymnasia, athletic training, exercise, and gymnos, naked, meaning to train naked. Julius Caesar, the most iconic name associated with the Romans, was stabbed 23 times. His assassination and death are highly notorious due to his coup d'état of the Roman Republic, his proclamation of himself as dictator for life, and his radical political views. His assassination and death are highly notorious due to his coup d'état of the Roman Republic, his proclamation of himself as dictator for life, and his radical political views. His assassination and death are highly notorious due to his coup d'état of the Roman Republic, his proclamation of himself as dictator for life, and his radical political views. A group of his fellow Roman senators, led by his best friend Brutus, assassinated him on March 15, 44 BC. During the assassination, Caesar was stabbed at least 23 times before finally succumbing to his wounds. He passed away with the fabled words to his former best friend Brutus, allegedly being, "You too, sweet child." The Coliseum was originally clad entirely in marble. When you visit or see the Coliseum these days, you'll notice how the stone exterior appears to be covered in pockmarks all across its surface. Although one might assume that the degradation of the material is due to its age, it is actually because it was originally clad almost entirely in marble. The pockmarks resulted from the looting and pillaging of Rome by the Goths after the fall of Rome. The Goths took all of the marble from the Colosseum and stripped it down to its bare stone setting. The gaps in the stone are a result of the removal of the iron clamps and poles that were used to attach the marble cladding. It was named the Coliseum because it was next to a statue called the Colossus. Originally known as the Amphitheatrum Flavium or Flavian Amphitheater, the Coliseum was constructed during the Flavian dynasty. The nickname given to it by the residents of Rome was Coliseum. It was named after a 164-foot statue of Emperor Nero, known as the Colossus of Nero. Rasputin survived being poisoned and shot. Grigory Rasputin was a Russian mystic and supposed holy man. He became friends with the last Russian Tsar and Tsarina. However, his influence over the Russian royals, combined with his drunkenness and lechery, led to several Russian nobles forming a plot to assassinate him. They invited him to one of their houses, where they gave him cakes and wine laced with cyanide, but to no effect. To their horror, Rasputin began to cough, and they realized he was still alive. The nobles then shot him 2 more times, once in the head, before finally throwing his body into the frozen. Finally, they shot him in the chest and threw his body into the frozen Malaya Nevka River. There were female gladiators. A female gladiator was known as a gladiatrix or gladiatrices, plural. They were less common than their male counterparts, but served the same purpose of executing criminals, fighting each other, and battling animals in Rome's various fighting pits. The Vikings were the first Europeans to discover America. Half a millennium prior to Christopher Columbus' discovery of America, Viking chieftain Leif Erikson of Greenland landed on the island of Newfoundland in the year 1000 AD. Erikson's Vikings settled Newfoundland and also discovered and settled Labrador further north in Canada. The Luftwaffe had a master interrogator whose tactic was being as nice as possible. Hans Scharf was a skilled interrogator who strongly opposed physical torture and brutality. His techniques were so effective that the U.S. military later adopted them in their own interrogation schools. Scharf's successful tactics for extracting information from prisoners included taking nature walks without guards, offering homemade food, telling jokes, sharing beers, and having afternoon tea with German fighter aces. He even visited fellow POWs and attended swimming pool parties. On rare occasions, he even participated in test flights of German fighter aircraft. In ancient Asia, due to their high intelligence and trainability, elephants were historically used as executioners and torturers. They were capable of inflicting slow bone fractures, skull crushing, limb twisting, and even executing individuals using large blades attached to their tusks. This method of execution remained popular in some parts of Asia until the late 19th century. They were capable of inflicting slow bone fractures, skull crushing, limb twisting, and even executing individuals using large blades attached to their tusks. This method of execution remained popular in some parts of Asia until the late 19th century. The UK government collected postcards as intelligence for the D-Day landings. In 1942, the BBC requested postcards and photographs of mainland Europe's coast from Norway to the Pyrenees. This was part of an intelligence-gathering exercise initiated by Lieutenant General Frederick Morgan to identify the most challenging beaches to defend. The postcards were sent to the War Office and played a role in the decision to select Normandy for the D-Day landings. When Marcus Crassus died, molten gold was poured down his throat. Marcus Licinius Crassus was known as the richest man in Rome during his lifetime. The son of a consul of Rome, Crassus fought in Sulla's civil war, played a key role in defeating Spartacus and ending the Third Servile War, and formed the first triumvirate with Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great. A shrewd man, Crassus amassed more and more wealth as he went about his business, and it was his thirst for wealth that would eventually lead to his downfall. Leading his troops on an ill-fated conquest of Parthia, modern Iran, Crassus and his forces were brutalized and defeated time and time again by the Parthians. After an unsuccessful peace parley with the Parthian leaders, Crassus was killed. The Parthians poured molten gold down his throat as a symbol of his thirst for wealth. Some even say that his gilded head and hands were sent to the Parthian king to keep as trophies of his victory over Crassus and Rome. Those are some interesting facts that I'm sure you don't know yet. To add insight and extraordinary world facts, please follow our page. See you in the next video.